This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
You all ready for this?
This is a sham.
No.
Nope.
Y'all, just stop.
Get real.
Welcome to DBL. Good to see everybody. We are transparent here at DBL, letting you know our prompter is not working, so I'm going to be maybe holding some cards.
All right.
But we roll with it, don't we? We roll with it. All right, we first want to mention Hurricane Beryl. It made landfall in Texas as a Category 1 hurricane. It's knocked out power to more than 1.5 million people in the state. If you live in Texas, our thoughts and our prayers are with you. We want you to stay safe, stay careful out there, and please pay attention to any updates that they are giving you. Scary stuff out there at Beryl. All right, we are back after being off for a week, so we want to weigh in what y'all have been talking about, huh? No news, huh? Just kidding. The biggest topic of conversation, of course, is President Biden. Should he step down after the performance of the first debate? We're still discussing that debate. He seemed to get really confused at times, and for a lot of people, he failed to convince him he's able to do the job at age 81. So post-debate polls that we're all waiting for show that Trump now leads Biden 49% to 43% among likely voters. So that's a 3-point increase for Trump. Biden's approval rating is now at 37%. That's a really low number. Now, the latest news this morning is that a group of top House Democrats are now publicly, that's important, publicly calling for him to exit the race. There's also word that some big donors to the Biden campaign have now paused their campaign donations. One specifically said he lost faith after the debate, and Friday's ABC interview with Biden and George Stephanopoulos, if you guys saw that, he said it did not change his mind at all. So, speaking of which, here's what Biden said during that interview. I watched it, about what it would take for him himself to personally decide to step down. Take a look.
And if Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries and Nancy Pelosi come down and say, we're worried that if you stay in the race, we're going to lose the House and the Senate, how will you respond?
I go into detail with them. I've spoken to all of them in detail, including Jim Clyburn. Every one of them. They all said I should stay in the race. Stay in the race. None of the people said I should leave.
But if they do?
Well, it's like, they're not going to do that.
You sure?
Well, yeah, sure. Look, I mean, if the Lord Almighty came down and said, Joe, get out of the race, I'd get out of the race. The Lord Almighty's not coming down.
Okay, so.
Yeah, it's a rough one.
Yeah, so let's start off really quickly. We all discussed, though, he didn't do well in the debate. Did the ABC interview change anybody's mind? It did not change my mind in the least.
I don't think so. I don't know. Even if he had appeared more lively, which wouldn't be hard to do, Tori, you were right all those weeks ago. I think the debate was just, it was a catastrophic blow. And it really just hobbled his campaign. And I don't see how he can recover in terms of the faith with the electorate. This is, these two parties are very different. When there is even an egregious misstep on the right, they are still very supportive of their candidate. They fall in line. They all use the exact same phrases. You turn on any channel, it was stop the steal. It was the exact same wording because they're on the same page. The left doesn't have that. The left has a bunch of little different camps inside of this big tent, and what you're going to see is the fracturing of an already not so unified left-leaning party. So I don't know, Jeff. I don't know if they can recover from this. They need somebody that everybody can at least say, this is who we're going to throw our weight and our money behind.
Is that not Biden? Should he drop out, in your opinion?
I don't know. We'll talk about that in a little bit, like if someone does pop in there. But I don't. It might be too late at this point. I don't. You know politics better than I do. Is it too late?
No. It's not. He could easily do it at the convention. And there's a blitz convention that could happen. And there's all these things that we're going to talk about. But it is not too late.
I would ask Jeff really quickly. You're a voter. Is it too late for you? If they put candidate X in there, would it be too late for you?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. But I mean, I don't like the choices at hand either. You know, we've talked about this in the past. Yeah, what do you think, Sam?
No, it's alarming. It really is. It's alarming that, Biden, even though I align with his policies, I believe he should step down. This is not somebody, in my opinion, that could lead America. And I'm disappointed in him. I'm disappointed that somebody that's had such a long legislative run is really going to overuse his power. Now, speaking of power, we're only focused on Biden. We need to focus on Trump as well. And I do want to encourage everybody, you may align with it, you may not, I certainly do not, Project 2025. I encourage everybody to go look at that because it's very, it dismantles all of our federal workforce. And at the end of the day, if you are not in alignment with what is stated in that Project 2025, you will not be allowed to work in said federal workforce. So, and it also strips away a lot of rights. So for me personally, I want to see Biden step down. I also want our entire constituent voters to be educated on what Project 2025 is.
I completely agree with you. And as we're getting closer and closer, we're hearing more about Project 2025. It is terrifying, in my opinion. Department of Education might be taken away. But I do want to say this. David Axelrod, who is famously the architect of Obama's complete takeover and beautiful presidency and administration, has said this. At this point, he's being defiantly dangerous. He is so in denial that he's asking for the Lord Almighty to come down. I love Joe Biden. I love what he's done for this country. I love his legacy. But he's got to see that he's at an end and that this is really ruining the conversation, ruining the momentum, and at some point, ruining the Democratic
But we
Party.
saw this with RBG.
I was going to say, this is a Ginsburg. This is a Ginsburg.
Yes,
You
and
stay
we
too
saw the
late.
catastrophic, and there's a reason that we don't see this with right-leaning justices, because they take their marching orders and they step down. When there's a right-wing president in the office, 2 or 3 of them step down, and here come 2 29-year-olds that will last your kid's lifetime because they follow marching orders. RBG put us in this, and Joe Biden is continuing this. We saw this with Dianne Feinstein, who literally died in her chair.
I know.
Because these
Mitch
old
McConnell, you know, was forced out.
will not let go of the gear shift of power.
That's right.
And I know it's hard, but it could change the face of this country.
That's right. For the good of the country. Don't do it for you, Joe. Do it for the country, please. All right, coming up on DBL, we're going to continue with the conversation, talk about who could replace him. Because we got to talk about it. Al is not on the short list, but he could be.
Yeah.
We're talking about also with reggae royalty. We got Ziggy Marley, everyone, all about the film he helped create, honoring his legendary father. You might have heard of him, one Bob Marley. All right, welcome back to DBL. We're continuing our conversation. If you don't know, our prompter's out. That's why I'm reading from cards. Another big question people are talking about is who would replace Biden if to run against Trump. Of course, one of the top contenders is, of course, Vice President Kamala Harris, who could easily inherit Biden's campaign infrastructure. And remember, all the money, all the donations, they go to her since she's already on the ticket. Polls show her in a head-to-head matchup between Harris and Trump. Trump leads 47% to 45%. Again, that's in the margin of error. So that is a very good a good polling. I'm sorry, we have the wrong number up there. But Harris does not have a good approval rating. She's sitting at just 37%. Now, some other potential candidates mentioned so far include Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer, California Governor Gavin Newsom, and Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear, and even Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg. What do we all think? Who would you pick to replace Joe Biden? Sorry for all those mistakes. We're trying to read and do all this at the same time. I have a pick.
Okay, let's hear it.
In my opinion, it's obvious. You can't skip over the vice presidency. She polls well. She gets you black women. She gets you Southern women. I think you go Kamala Harris, Gretchen Whitmer, and you get a full female, and you empower and rev up the base that way.
I think our country, not only do we have a racist history in our country, we also have a very sexist, right?
I would completely
I don't
agree.
think, unfortunately, and I hate that I have to say this out loud, but on this show, we say it like it is. I don't think you're going to get a female president. There still has yet to be a female president.
Well, she was elected as a heartbeat away from the president, so we did elect her. I mean, she was appointed, and then we elected her as part of that ticket.
I do not think our body of constituents are...
And especially a two-female ticket, I don't see that happening.
Who do you guys see?
I think Gavin Newsom.
He doesn't poll well,
If you were going to pull anybody, but you know what it is, Tori?
Yeah, debates well.
He debates well. He goes on Fox News all the time. He equates himself.
Acquaints himself?
That's a weird word.
Yep.
He equates himself well, and he speaks in very plain terms. And Jeff, he looks like a president.
He looks slick, though.
I know it's stupid.
Midwestern.
I know it's dumb, but we are visual creatures. That's why we're talking about the debate now. Joe Biden looked bad, even if you put it on mute. If you showed somebody that didn't know who the president's country was, Gavin Newsom, they'd be like, oh, that guy. He just looks like a president. I wish it was more complex than that.
Yeah, but what he did during COVID and what he has done with California, you live there, I live there, I was just back there. It is not the same place, and that's a lot of laws that Gavin Newsom put in place. That's why I think he's not polling well. Does he look the part? Absolutely. He looks very presidential. He carries himself well, but a lot of things he did during that time turned a lot of people off. As far as Kamala Harris goes, I think a lot of, if we can take racism and sexism out of this, I think part of Joe Biden running again is the fear of something happening to him, and Kamala Harris has to step into that spot. Nobody wants to talk about it because then they get labeled racist or sexist, but it's the truth. She doesn't poll well. She's not very appealing when she speaks.
She's head-to-head with Trump right now in the New York Times. I'm just saying.
I'm just saying, too, yeah.
Okay, she's polling very well, and by the way, she gets the money. If you are someone who's coming up like a Gavin Newsom, he doesn't get $240 million that they have at the ready. Is that important to anybody here?
Yes, the war chest is everything. And also for Kamala Harris, like, you have to, the best thing about her in terms of like, she doesn't poll well, her approval rating is low. I don't know anything about her. So she's kind of been in bubble wrap his entire first term. So I think she has a chance to set the narrative. Do you have 3 facts about her? I don't.
No, but if you just, social media is not the news, but she's not favorable on social media. When she gets out there and talks or during interviews, she rambles and makes up things and has an awkward laugh. She's not like Obama.
Right.
Obama was an orator. He was up there. He was confident. You believed in him. Take everything out of that. You just don't with Kamala Harris or Joe Biden at this point.
Absolutely. Yeah, interesting. Keep your eye also on Pennsylvania, because that's something we need to know. Josh Shapiro is being floated. He's governor of Pennsylvania.
What do you think about that choice? I was curious about that.
Can I be honest?
Yes.
He's Jewish, and I have a hard time. You said misogyny. You said sexism.
You're worried about the anti-Semitism.
Yep. So he's Jewish, but he'd be great here. But we'll find out soon. All right, we'll be right back.
Welcome back. Recently, the movie One Love about reggae legend Bob Marley won a BET Award for Best Movie of the Year, and we just spoke with his son, Ziggy Marley, all about it. Take a look.
So lift our spirits, raise our voice, let our heart beat like the sound of drums. Smoke in my tears, my breath is on fire. Hear me say no more crossing rivers.
Please help me welcome back to DBL Ziggy Marley.
We are so honored to have you here today, Ziggy. Congratulations on One Love. I have watched it twice. It has changed a part of me as a person. So you helped produce the film all about your iconic dad. Why was it finally time for a movie about him?
Yeah, I mean, when we think about that question, I don't think it was up to us. Like, I mean, we did it, but we didn't calculate it and say, oh, no, it's time because of a certain reason. We just felt, you know, I like to put it, I said, like the spirit movie. When you feel your intuition or your consciousness or something inside you telling you something, you give it a chance. And that's what this was like for the family. We felt something and we took a chance and it came true, you know?
It's incredible. Now, One Love was based on your father's life, specifically between the years of 1976 and 1978. So why focus on that period of time?
Yeah, no, well, I mean, there's some funny reason but some deeper reason. For me, like my first inkling was I want to watch a movie that's like have some action, have some adventure, have something going in it. So I was like, this period of time was the most like crazy time. Like there's action, there's violence, there's love, there's like change. It's such a crazy time for a person. And then the deeper thing is that what he went through during this time period is what kind of shaped his mindset. It changed his mindset, that he became this person that his life wasn't for him anymore. So this was a period of time that he kind of realized that my life is not for me. If my life is for me, I don't want it. This is a time period where Bob Marley became that person. And so this is who Bob is. You know, this is a time period that made him who he is.
One of my all-time favorites. I don't have to tell you that. I told you last time. But you obviously had memories of your father growing up, and this movie, I'm sure, resurrected some old memories. Do you have one specific memory of your dad that sticks out?
Well, it's impossible to have one because, I mean, when you look back now, it was such a short time period of time. You know, I was, what, 12, going on to 13. So all the memories, really, you know, going to the country, driving to his hometown, you know, playing soccer, being around the music. Just everything kind of become one memory, basically. You know what I say? Yeah.
Yeah, that's a hard question. What's your favorite Bob Marley memory?
Yeah,
that's impossible. That's impossible. But do you remember the last thing that your dad did say to you? Do you remember that?
Yeah, him say, on your way up, take me up. On your way down, don't let me down.
Oh my gosh.
That's beautiful.
Wow.
I needed that today.
Yeah,
We all did.
Yeah.
We all did. All right, sir, you honor your father's legacy through your music, and I wanted to know what's something special that fans can look forward to during your Circle of Peace tour?
Yeah, well, the Circle of Peace tour coming up now is more than a show. I call it a campaign or a session for motivate. I'm very particular about this tour because I want it to mean something. That's why it's called the Circle of Peace tour. I want it to be more than just coming to hear the songs. You know, this is a movement. We're trying to build more energy in the movement of peace and love for humanity, and so. It's a time for us to invigorate ourselves with the energy to go out into the world and bring more peace and love to the community and the society. So this is what I am on. That's the program, you know. So that's how I look at this tour, and so people can expect to feel that invigoration, feel that let's get enthusiastic about peace and love some more, you know?
I love that. That is beautiful and so needed. Okay, when you were here last, you shared that you became a dog father to Romeo. We remember Romeo.
Romeo.
Now, Ziggy, you do have a new line of dog accessories. So tell us about that. And does Romeo go on tour with you?
Yeah, well, yes, like it's Romeo's accessories, not even mine, you know. He's working very hard.
I love it. I love it so much.
man.
Okay, so thank you so much for joining us, Ziggy. DBL Nation, check out shop.ziggymarley.com for more apothecary products.
I'm on board.
I know you I knew you would love
Good
that
pun.
pun.
Yep.
Exactly. Also for upcoming Circle a Peace tour dates, including July 15th at the Gerald R. Ford Amphitheater in Vail, and July 27th in Denver at Fiddler's Green. Visit ziggymarley.com for tickets.
Oh, cool.
Congratulations. Great to see you. We'll be right
Thank
back.
you, guys.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
We'll see you there for sure.
Yes.
Welcome back. Before we go, we got a really crazy video for you. A dog in Colorado turned on the stove while its owners were sleeping. Get this, it catches things on fire that were on the stove. Then it overtakes the entire kitchen. Thankfully, the owners were alerted from an Apple Pod, not iPod, and one of them was able to extinguish the fire before firefighters arrived. One person was treated for smoke inhalation.
I'm glad everyone's okay, but who puts their paper towel right over the stove like that? Is that paper towel right there?
We're not here to kitchen blames.
I am. I'm like, what, is there bags
You're
on
right,
the
there's
stove?
a lot of
What is
paper
going on there?
Like, was it like pamphlets?
I keep everything away from the stove, don't you?
Yeah, I do. But I just, my mind immediately goes to insurance companies and being on the phone with them.
My dog did it.
Because how did this start? And then there's a video and they're like, my dog did it. Well, we don't cover that. So have fun with your burnt down kitchen.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yep.
Thanks, Frank the dog.
Frank, I call them an arfanist. An arfanist. Did you guys hear it? An arfanist.
I liked it.
4 times.
4 times. All right, we got some.
And we're at home.
We got some comments here. Megan says about Biden's replacements. I think they need to name people, and I think I think they need to name people know. And Newsom is the only one positioned well enough to step in mid-campaign and not skip a beat. I have to tell you clearly, people in the Midwest find him very slick. They don't like his slickness.
I like his policies on gun reform.
I
I
do
like his
too.
policies on social media. He does not want any student to have a phone inside a classroom.
I love that.
I love that.
The problem is we don't need California. We need Pennsylvania. That's what we need. Huh?
All right.
What are you going to do?
Good job, T-Bone.
Thanks, buddy.
You did
We got
great. No
nothing.
prompter.
No prompter, Tori. We'll see you tomorrow.